Monkey man. Goodness. It's not current. It's not current. It's not. Okay, we have about a minute to go live. What is this timer say? Oh, yeah, just about a minute. Cool. Get my cheat sheet over here. Do this. This is in live video. All right, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Hello, hello. I think it is. Hello, hello. This is Monkey Mind with Rob, and you are listening to WHIV 102.3 FM, and we honor independent voices. This is not the coronavirus you're hearing in my throat. This is oak allergens from the trees. I got really thumped like last week working outside. Of course, this has all been kind of crazy, this recent thing. I'm sure you all are tripping out and doing the best you can. Wash your hands a lot. Remind your older loved ones to take care of themselves. It's much more, I guess, dramatic for them, as is the flu. This is not a time to panic, but I think it's a good time to maybe reflect on all our hygiene, right, in general. I think we're kind of I don't think we pay enough mind to it, for sure. People spreading germs, going around with colds and so forth. Anyway, this is Monkey Mind with Rob. I am Rob. And this show is all about brain cancer and living in one's moment. Back in 2004, I got diagnosed with a GBM brain cancer in my right frontal lobe. Through that course on the internet and through doctors kind of back and forth, I kind of was told that I had about 6 months to live. It's pretty mind-blowing. And also a relief, too, because I was really suffering from cognitive issues prior to that. Depression, probably anxiety, probably like everything. And because the tumor was causing a pressure buildup inside my skull. And had nowhere to go, so it was just squeezing my brain. And one of the main things that I noticed prior to this, I had a lot of negative speak in my head. Still got a little bit, but I practice. I got really tried to start being more present and realizing that I am living just my moment. I'm not living my past, and I'm not living my future unless I so choose to, and it is very much a fallacy, and that is pretty much attributed to the thinker, and that's basically that mind chatter, the constant need to be doing something, getting bored with what is, and just grabbing for anything, be it an uncomfortable, mean thought, or dwelling on one's things you don't like in your past. Anything that excites kind of a mood out of, and it's kind of almost like it is itself, where it I don't know, just likes poking at itself and making itself irritated, and likes making itself feel more important out of that. Either it's the victim of the story or it's the hero. Typically, it's been wronged. Someone has wronged us, or we've wronged ourselves, where the monkey can even just find itself to torture. I had a lot of that prior to getting diagnosed, and I thought, and I might still do a little bit, think it lowered my immune system. I wasn't, having, positive, happy thoughts, and that just kind of started just snowballing on me. And I think it parallels a lot with the brain cancer. It's basically like kind of a parasite, as is our thinker. Our true essence, our core self, is more of an awareness. It's the consciousness that can basically sit back and listen to that monkey chatter. And yeah, but you also, with that, is a fine line, because you don't want to be judgmental of your monkey. You don't want to be, sorry, what, stupid monkey, because then you just form basically another monkey, and then you're just, you know, your monkeys are playing with each other. And yeah, so it's been a balance, and that was a blessing for me to start really noticing my moment. It helped me a lot with the process, because I had a lot of, and I still have some, but I had a lot of cognitive issues and even some motor skill issues with regards to my brain cancer, uh, and it helped ease things. It's like so much being easier on yourself and loving of yourself and loving of others. It's a very healing, more peaceful thing, and you can find. I want to say you can find peace given any situation, because it is what it is. It doesn't mean it's a good situation, or it's a loving, or it shouldn't be stopped even situation, and that's okay too. If you can do it, stop it. If you don't like it, uh, put an end to it. If you can't, try and get away from it. And if you can't get away from it, try and practice making kind of peace with it. It is what it is. One of the terms I always liked with it was surrendering to it, because that can really, if you find real resistance to that, that typically is your ego. Your ego is just not at peace. It can't. It's the rattle that keeps going and going. And, is yeah. But I mean, it's almost like I heard one practice on it was to look at it like a kind of like an immature child that can't really help itself. It doesn't have the skills to control. So you almost, in a way, just it can't really help it. So that you don't get mad at it. It's like, oh, that's the monkey. you know, it's it can't, poor baby, can't get happy. I had some other, my Reiki. She what was her thing with it? She was, I guess, asking it to behave or something like that. And I can see some practice with that working, because I mean the monkey can be kind of fun. I'm not just been saying horrible things about it, sort of, but because it's a lot of our passions. But with with your ups comes down. It's the yin and yang of things. I think a lot of that, quote, path to enlightenment or whatever, it brings you to a space where you're not really getting these, like passionate highs. With the passionate lows, you're getting more of a, I would say, just peace. Like one of the things I always liked was hearing joy, ease, and lightness. Like if you're not in a state of joy, ease, and lightness, then your monkey is running the show. You're identifying, basically. You're thinking you're that monkey, and most of us do, because I'm going to say that thinker is pretty much what our hobbies are. It's almost all of the stuff we're doing. Um, but yeah, it's just a good daily practice for anybody. I mean, you don't have to have brain cancer to practice being in your moment. I mean, I think it is a epidemic, a global human epidemic to think you're the thinker. And I don't think there's the vaccine for it is just listening to it and noticing it, and Yeah, so that's the fact. So you can cure you can cure yourself, but it's like being in your moment too. It's like forgiving yourself, going easy on yourself when you do, not when your monkey takes over. I mean, I talk a lot of smack on this stuff, but last night I got my ego got very much affected the other day. I had a slight a discussion with someone I love that went very south really quick, and I shouldn't say south because that's I don't really believe in up and down, and I don't believe like south is a derogatory. Like north tends to be more positive, I guess, and south tends to be more. I don't know. So that's sorry about that. Because I'm in the south, but then there's something south to me, right? It is no up and down, really. I mean, really, it's just there's a magnetism. I think I've just got turned on that gravity ain't really the thing. It's really all magnetism. And with my, I have a little bit of. I mean, I do pretty good, and I also utilize others' inputs to help me form decisions. I'm a little bit more impulse oriented than I used to be because that has the tendency to come with right frontal lobe. But I always kind of was, and I've always been very adamant about doing my own thing, and you know. But I take that with a grain. I'm not always right. I make plenty of errors, and I definitely have tendencies in behavior. I mean, like we all do. That, but it's like it's okay. I mean, what's beautiful about practicing living in one's moment is you have an endless supply. And I kind of really believe that. I don't believe in time either. I believe in now. There is no time. There's just this. This is it. And like when I first got, like I got that diagnosis, so that was what, like 14 years ago, which has been awesome. And then just maybe like 6 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that, I just got a re-diagnosis. Well, not a, I can't say it like that. I got a real suspect, so they put me back on chemo. So, but this is a new area over my brain stem, which I keep forgetting to look it up. I'm not really even sure where it is, the brain stem. I thought it was by my cerebellum or by the pineal gland, but I think I always say pineal gland like a penis or something. So maybe I'm not even saying that right. I always mess that up. I don't put a lot of my focus or intention on real specific stuff like names and dates, times. Um, but I mean, I have to function in this culture. So I make notes, I make lists, I have a calendar, and I know that about myself. So it's kind of added into my equation. But I was never into that even prior to this. This more like amplified everything that was kind of slightly off about me. And off, I mean by as opposed to maybe typical or normal. Uh, I even dropped out of high school at a young age. I wanted to run away to Baja to live on the beach. I think maybe first I wanted to go to Barbados. I'd seen that in a surfing magazine. I was living in South Carolina in Charleston area, and I just really all I wanted to do was just go surfing and be in the water and stuff like that. That's all I wanted to do back then, and kind of came into it a little late, like junior high, late junior high, and yeah, and then I just started, I guess, partying, doing uh, hallucinogens and stuff like that. I always thought that was very kind of spiritual in a way, and it almost kind of reminded me of more of where I wanted, my culture to be or what it's about. Kind of like it's almost like finding like your spiritual essence or something, of what it is. I'm not very into like I'm not into at all of a personified deity. Uh, I'm kind of more into like the everything trip of it, where we're all God. Everything's God. Everything that is you could say the deity, God, and it's so much of everything that it negates itself. It just is, and it's hard for us to grasp that. And I think it's also about just behaving right, chicken soup stuff. I'm into treating people with love, though I fail that at times. But I can always reboot it. Like the beauty of it to really start practicing and going easy on yourself is like as soon as you start to regret something or something, try and make amends of what you can for it, but then you move on. I mean, forgive yourself, notice your moment. That's gone. It's in the past. You can't bring that back or undo what's done. It's a did. Um, you just make peace and what we're listening to on the background music is Red Priest on guitar, and this is to a song I wrote called Monkey Mind, and that was pretty fun. I've always been into, I guess, art and creative stuff. Mainly, my focus has always been narratives, like stories, via film, a children's book I wrote and had published, and what else? Just artwork, I guess, in general. I always liked comics as a kid, movies, of course. Um, the But yeah, and that's such a good practice for everybody to get into some kind of creative endeavor. It kind of goes back to the other of life, the and can be very spiritual too, and your own spirit. Um, like when I first got this new diagnosis, of course, it was kind of like a shock because I don't really saturate. I mean, I know I do this radio show on it, but I don't really saturate myself in brain cancer thoughts. I don't really think about it on a daily basis. A lot of people I know do. I just joined recently a Facebook group where it's all people dealing with GBM and the families and then the actual uh, people. And a lot of people are surviving this, live on this like in a fear mode day by day. Is it going to come back? Because this this cancer has a real tendency to come back. Um, and people are very or more susceptible, especially with this corona 19 or whatever, are very susceptible to getting because we have lowered immune systems. Like I'm gonna told my nurse when she called the other day, and I called her, and I told her that I wanted to postpone my next chemo treatment because it lowers my. I just don't want to add to my to I want to play this smart, and so it's people got to watch out that are doing things that lower their immune system. They have pre-existing conditions and so forth, and the elderly. Uh, but I think this is really just a beefed up um, flu, really. Uh, as I'm hearing it, different strands of corona have been around for a long time, and this is just another one. Uh, but I mean, I get the thing. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of it's overdone on this, but I don't know. Like I said, I should always say on this show that I am definitely not a medical doctor. All this smack I'm saying to you is just out of my head. I mean, I hear some stuff, but I'm not. Don't don't sell the farm, or I don't know what's the term for it. Don't buy stock based on my babbles. But this is just what I'm thinking. And I was thinking, I really like conspiracy theories. Oh, first off, I want to say right now I'm wearing a Chuck Norris trucker hat So this is my defense against Corona. Just no, it's not. But anyway, I love this bloody hat because it's got him. I think he's holding like some AK-47 or something like that, some machine gun. He's wearing, I think, a cut off, sleeveless jean shirt. And underneath the brim, it said Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. And that is something to really ponder. A lot of people, I just think of Chuck Norris as uh, a an action, a B action star. Sorry, Chuck, but that's the way it is. But he is actually a phenom of nature, counting to infinity. Not once, but twice. Anyway, it was just his birthday last week, or was that this week? Yeah, this is Saturday. Yeah, it was just his birthday was this week. Uh, and then, oh yeah, on conspiracy stuff. I don't know, it just reminded me of Chuck because he's real USA. China. Okay, this is a conspiracy theory here, so you can just turn your mind off. I'm kind of thinking China, because you know that was a great book. It's like by Sun Tzu. I think it's The Art of War or something like that, where it really outlines. And this is a Chinese general way back in the way. There was just this brilliant mind, and a lot of his military strategies were very alternative. In the sense that he ideally didn't even want to use his armies if he could take you over the country or the whatever the thing just by other means. So he was always into, I think, if I might be butchering that too, I don't know. It's been a while. I think I did read it, but it was back in like when I was in university. Uh, but yeah, so anyway, I'm kind of thinking bioweapons are a real thing. And they're a great thing that I think you could like make a backstory for it where it's like, the origins of it. So where would you do that? You would do that in a place like the market where I think they're saying that it did come from. And I think I've heard, this could be urban legend too, but I think I've heard it came from a bat soup that they put, to make the soup. So this could be, I could be just spreading utter, what urban legend. But I had heard the bat soup they put, and then the whole market has live animals, dead animals people eating. So it's a mixed bag of, I assume, excrement and all kind of fluids, people eating. Um, like your typical Piccadilly's, I could think of. Sorry, Piccadilly. That was bad. Okay, but anyway, so I had heard that they make this soup with live bats, and it's kind of like maybe like a lobster, like lobsters or crawfish boil, where you put them in live, ideally, and these bats, some of them poop in the soup. So that's what I heard. But I mean, you got this. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look at that thing and say, wow, if you're going to get, and most of these swine flu, look at like a lot of these other diseases, they all come out of this intermingling of human and animal interaction. And so that's like a no-brainer to start it. It didn't take a rocket science. Like, and if you wanted to use your bioweapon, I mean, the world would all just think you were just the most horrible person in the world and they, rightly so. So you're trying to, play the PR thing. How would you do that? Well, you come up with a backstory, and it helps if you're not really that into your people. I don't think the Chinese government are really that into their people. That's just their team, and they can sacrifice them as needed. I think the government sees it as that. They are pawns in the larger game, and they don't always know what's really good for them. So I don't think the government would have much issue with some collateral damage. And I wouldn't, ideally, if I were to plan this, and be this megalomaniac. I would think you would try and come up maybe with the cure where you'd have it like in the backlog or at least a really good vaccine or something. Uh, or you kind of know that this is pretty much targeted towards the elderly and people with compromised immune systems. Uh, so where was I going with that? Yeah, so what I was saying is that China's been getting kind of handed to them lately. This administration has been calling out their very poor behavior, and some of it is like a no-brainer. It's just business. If other people are going to act like suckers, people are going to pretty much treat you like that. And China's been doing that with taking a bunch of everything from patents, doing what they want, and not honoring just basic, business practices just because it's more advantageous. They've come out saying that basically, like to their people, even recently, they were saying that they weren't gonna, they might not share the meds with us, and we'd be a swamp of coronavirus. So that shows their method, their motive behind it, and then just their general discard for human life as a government. I mean, the people I'm sure are beautiful, uh, but yeah, and so I would say they want to put a big reset on all this stuff that's been going on, and if you can't trace it to them, then hell, and they're going to lose a couple, let's say, 1 million people in China. I don't think the government would have much issue taking that kind of a hit, even. Um, it seems like they're always trying to repress their population anyway. Um, anyway, this was conspiracy theories. Anyway, I'm still kind of working on that one, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily true. It just kind of it seems suspicious. It seems a little off. And this is it's a new warfare. I mean, new warfare. I mean, most of the stuff I gotta think isn't so much going to be fought with conventional stuff, unless you can kind of keep it contained. And this is like yeah, I don't know. So if they trickle out with the vaccine pretty soon, and then make a lot of money on it, that's like, all right, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. More and more conspiracies, I think, are actually in reality. Now, this also might be an impulse from my brain injury that I like these, but I'm not like selling the farm on this or anything. This is kind of where I guess some of my mind goes. And like one of the other ones I always like sharing is that the person from Avion Shakespeare, and Red always laughs at me about this one because I just think it's really kind of fascinating. I know I saw like, I don't know, 3 or 4 documentaries, and really 2 in particular, that really outlined that the Earl of Oxford wrote everything that we attribute to the name William Shakespeare. And Shakespeare was a pen name of his because he was royalty. It wasn't considered proper for it was considered rather gauche, very gauche for a royal a royal subject to write theater, and also a lot of the theater was very much propaganda for England, and he got a stipend from the Queen to actually write, and was also wealthy, but burnt through his money. And the backstory on him completely parallels a lot of his stuff was autobiographical, like Hamlet, uh, all his journeys. His life could basically be told via his plays, and Shakespeare was a pen name, and a guy from Avion's name was actually even Shakespeare, not Shakespeare. But it was close enough, and he was in the theater world as like a bit player or something like that. And so, yeah. Hi, Russ. Okay, go away. Go away, dude, please. All right, you're not gonna go away. You're gonna come in. Why? Well, because I'm asking you not to.
What? I think you were fucking.
Oh no. No. Sorry, dude. I'll see you in a few.
How you going? Where you go?
All right. Good. So that was Russ, a fellow brainstormer. The next show after this is called Listen to Us Live. And it is a mixed group of brain altered individuals. And we're all trying to make do with what we've got. Like I've been telling you about some of my little quirks from my, quote, I guess, tissue loss and other issues. They took out a large portion of my right frontal lobe with the brain surgery and the preceding brain surgery, which they called a biopsy, but that didn't really work. I kind of forgot. I don't have a good attention span, and Russ just kind of cleaned my clock coming in here. But yeah, we were talking about that conspiracy theory. That was kind of fun. Oh, man. So anyway, I was telling y'all that I'm definitely fail on the old staying in my moment a bunch. And like I said last night, I was kind of disappointed. But I mean, you got to really watch that because that's really just an excuse for your monkey to come out. Oh, I'm so disappointed in you. Like, look at the way we acted. Because anyway, I told you I got into like a little bit of a quote argument. I got heated, upset. And it's happening to me a fair amount. I really like to practice on limiting that and being more peace with what is, more matter of fact. But it's tough sometimes, and especially when family is the issue, or friends, lovers. I mean, it gets a lot of that is a tough one to master. And yeah, just going through it, it's like, oh man, why didn't I contain that more? But hey, it's gone, man. And I really sweated it last night. I literally, and because I got these comforters, these two comforters, and sometimes if I put them both on me, man, I am just like burning. I mean, the thermostat's saying the same, but something must change because I would just wake up and just sweating. Anyway, last night I knew that, but I had it down on the lower portion. So I woke up and my legs were just completely covered in sweat from getting too hot. And I was just, my mind was, that thing where something happens during the day and it just keeps playing back and you keep thinking of things to say, working out the equation, concerning yourself with what the future is going to happen, it's going to unfold. And it was just like, wow. But, yeah. But, I just got another post on my site. Ding. Dang, forgot what I was talking about. Dream. Oh, the dream. Okay, the dream last night. Yeah, so, okay, last night. So last night was pretty funny. It syncs up that my phone's going off right now, yo. Dream last night. Yeah. Okay. So I also get like right frontal lobe. I don't know what it is with my brain. I used to think I had a great what do you call it? Sense of direction, like that internal compass where you kind of know where you are, or where you need to go, where your intent is. Like you got that gyroscope or whatever that's always kind of. Boy, I lost that all with my brain surgery. And now it's like I really feel like a lot of times I can get lost kind of easily, and I just really keep that in check. I live off my my cell phone, and the navigators and stuff, like when I'm driving around, and it helps a lot. I just lost it again. I'm so easily distracted. I guess I need to have this door closed. People be walking by, distracting me. Not easily distracted. Yeah, my attention span is like that of a child, I think, a little bit. I know I can work on it, and I forgive myself. Okay, I'm in my moment. Yeah, I mean, just keep practicing that, and don't be hard on yourself. Um, that is a very, very much the thing. But anyway, so this dream. So I'm driving my car, and I'm over in the city, and I got this friend of mine that we've had this real kind of an odd relationship, and it also he hit some of his behavioral traits reminded me a little bit of my dad. So I'm driving. He's trying to also. I'm like confused. I'm very disoriented where I've been driving to, and it's kind of like I'm almost kind of coming to every now and then, and I've deviated off the. I'm not recognizing any of the geography, and I'm pretty familiar with New Orleans, and then the existing neighborhoods all around it, and it's like everything is it's like a dream. Everything's been reshuffled, but it is that place. So you have that feeling that you should know what the heck's going on, and but yeah, I just don't. And I'm trying to deal with it, trying to stay patient and cool, trying to get my phone to work because I'm having issues with even pulling something up, so I'm struggling. And then I'm trying to drive too, and I guess I pull over a couple times. And anyway, my friend is messing with the phone. He's trying to get into it, but he's actually he's not really from the States. So there's always like a little bit of a language gap in the dialogues that we have. And, and then he's always kind of, he's a real, hands on. So he's messing with my phone. So I basically just have to say, hey, just stop what you're doing. Just stop that. I mean, I got to focus here. And I think I basically got that pulled off to some weird, like, kind of lot by the river. So I knew where the river was. And then so I knew that we needed to be headed up or something. Or, yeah, but there is no up, right? We need to be headed up a river or something. I don't know. I'm trying not to say up. But yeah, but it was just very unpleasant. Very unpleasant. And then I woke up sweating bullets with a blanket. And I was like, one of those things where, like, oh man. And I was back into then, even I guess thinking about the argument that I'd had, and then the dynamics of it, and yeah, I have a difficult time, and I was going to bring that up. I don't know if other people do that too. It seems like at nighttime, like in like sleep, trying to go to bed, that thinker monkey really gets strong, where it's harder to contain it. And so in those times, I think you really almost got to practice. And then I was doing my thing, like where I was doing one thing I do to kind of help center myself thought wise is ask myself if I'm breathing, and just really then just try and notice on the breath. And then, the thinker comes back, and then you keep doing it, and you keep kind of, keep thinker pops up. Then you keep saying, okay, my breath, and then just really focus on that, and it just kind of mellows you out. And so that helped out a little bit, but I definitely had an edge. And then morning comes, I don't know, it's weird. It's like the whole bio thing. And morning comes, I was like, I can take this. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I got this. It is what it is, I can roll with it. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. That's a beautiful thing where you can get those like little epiphanies and practice gratitude always. A lot of that, I noticed that with that like Facebook account I mentioned with the GBMs. A lot of people will post like their what they're going through, like how painful it is or traumatic and all this stuff, and it's really I really catch myself sometimes, but I'm like when you find yourself complaining, it's really a good time to start practicing saying thank you and being grateful for what is and for you. Um, and really embracing that. And another thing it reminds me of too is what my Reiki taught me is that I shouldn't fight cancer. Like fighting begets fighting. Like a negative begets a negative. What you want to do is basically ask cancer to leave your body. Like strong, but matter of fact, friendly. Because you are a friendly, loving person. You don't want to embrace negativity, and I'm real big on that, like the negative speak. I will typically correct a lot of people on their terminology if they use it, especially if it's uh, directed toward or projected on me. Like I took a real offense when people tell me I'm sick. I don't. I have symptoms, and I talk about my symptoms. I don't project on myself that handle that I'm ever sick. Well, I guess unless it's obviously that I have the quote sickness. I don't know. I just kind of contradicted myself. What I mean by it is kind of like that. Typically, what you have is symptoms. That could be that you are truly sick. What I had was like the example is like last week I had major repercussions from allergy. I had a tree pollen hit me really hard, made my throat just all raw, and I think it gave me like sneezes and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like you're sick, but I mean really you're suffering from allergies. And so I had my mom say, "Well, you gotta get sick." And I was like, "No," and I was like, "I am not. I have a sore throat. I have a runny nose, and that's what I'm dealing with." And so I really like practice, and I like practicing that with cancer too. And it's about staying in your moment. Um, I had a good friend of mine that I miss a lot. He passed away, and he was dealing with was it lymphoma? It was some type of cancer. Like I said, I really don't usually pay much attention to illnesses or sicknesses. It kind of goes in one out the other. But anyway, he had a cancer. My neighbor, and he was going through. I guess it was radiation and maybe some kind of chemo. I'm kind of forgetting that part too. But I was kind of thinking now it's radiation. Yeah, I think it had to have been radiation because that's where you ring the bell, or at least that's when I rang the bell. Like my first GBM, not my, and I'm not supposed to say my, but I guess it's past because my GBM, the GBM that I had. See, I'm trying to do the proper speaking about it. Yeah, what is talking about? This kind of went blank. I used to have a real problem with speaking. Um, I couldn't do what I'm doing right now at all. And I think as I've been easier on myself, my brain has really healed a lot and kind of wired itself. So I may have lost that story for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really pulling that one up. But but yeah, it's just so much. Everything resorts back to being now, being in this moment, making peace with it, um, washing your hands. So I am going to now read a radio announcement. And again, this is WHIV 102.3 FM. We honor independent voices, and you are listening to Monkey Mind with Rob. Did you know that 102.3 FM WHIVLP New Orleans has been broadcasting for 5 years? We are able to honor independent community voices with your support. And they got merch. T-shirts, hoodies, white fanny packs. Russ needs one of those. And we need to do a fundraiser for that one. And more, he loves his fanny pack. And more, make great for great gifts. Or treat yourself. And it says knit caps. But man, it's like kind of being wimpy as far as cold weather, isn't it? Wimpy. And don't get me on the global warming now. Don't go there. Simply go to WHIV.org and click store. That's WHIV.org. WHIV.org. Sorry about that. Thanks, y'all. We are not a radio station with a mission. We are a mission with a radio station. End all wars. And y'all heard maybe my earlier conspiracy theory. And I think there are new wars out there. I think China has been on the new battlefield and economic warfare with the states, and is basically trying to take us out. And it's so ironic that all these what communist socialists is supposed to be like for the people, but they pretty much just become monarchs, all of them. It's like dictatorships. Uh, yeah. But what was it? Then the other was some. Was it Motorhead or what? Not Motorhead. It was maybe. I was thinking when you listen to Fools, the Mob Rules or something. I think it was on a Heavy Metal, the movie, that animated film. I love that film. Um, yeah, so it's like so much oh man, I'm getting a scam. Hang on just one moment. All right. It said scam likely. I do not know a scam, a Mr. or Mrs. Likely. So I'm not accepting that. But a lot of my medical, so I'm trying to also now limit my exposure to the hospital. Because I had a doctor's appointment. I think I said, so I take chemo now, and because of this Corona 19, I'm going to try and limit that just because it lowers my immune system. Um, but I'm pretty sure I can hack it, though I really do not like respiratory. Uh, those are not fun. Sore throats and dealing with the lungs. When I went through my first brain surgery in '05, it really, being on the, what's the thing they put you on? Like they knock you out. It just really killed my lungs. And they have you, like, afterwards, you got to blow into this thing and make this ball move. I couldn't do it at all. And I mean, it just feels like somebody's on your chest like the entire time. Um, that was not pleasant. But I think it's such a great, and even like last night, I was noticing like I was uptight. I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity for me to practice, finding some peace with what is. And that's a cool thing to remind yourself once you start seeing yourself getting all stressed about something, is to really kind of say, okay, this is my chance to now practice and be grateful for the chance, and be grateful for the opportunity to see that in yourself. Your quote, failing of, you know, not just going along with your monkey and that crazy monkey, and giving yourself a chance to like step back and say, okay, wait, this is not really me. This is kind of I was related to this I get another call. Um, that's somebody that should know that I do a radio show at this hour, but some people just don't pay attention. I'm kind of one of them too. I'm kind of always out there, but anyway. Uh, yeah, so that was the person that was the person I had the difficulty with, that I saw my family that just called me. But yeah, so I really want to make peace with that with myself. Like most of our displeasures and things that we call out on other people are really real times where I think our psyche is trying to show us our issue. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the things we find fault in others are things we dislike about ourselves. Um, and I mean, you got to really look into it and then how you phrase it too, because yeah, I mean, you can get too literal with that statement that I just made, but it's more of it reminds you of things that are in yourself. So you got to kind of like, root around it to see the psyche in it. Um, and yeah, it's like go easy on yourself. I think it's so good for your immune system, your general health, being in your moment. I mean, especially a good example is this. All this, and you start listening to this news. The news is just like, you know, death and drama, closing and closing, closing, closing. I mean, they just kind of enjoy that. Basically our news is run by a bunch of monkeys, and these monkeys, They love drama. And our political system is much the same way. It is very monkey driven. I always made the analogy that are like Democrats, Republicans, more like a gladiatorial thing where the powers that be try and distract the masses with these performances of this pomp and circumstance. We all like seeing the drama. Our monkeys love the drama. Look at like some of the popular TV shows. It's all about over the top. Even reality. It's like, oh yeah, eat that up. Monkeys love that. We like seeing it. Other people have problems. We like making problems. Our monkey does, and I think it's so much about just making peace or practice it, and it's so much just practice it. I went through the medical system too. It's like a good analogy on that. Mentioning the practice is that a lot of stuff with these treatments, I don't know. I mean, what did they say? They were practicing medicine. I think that's a real term. And they truly are. I mean, it's like not anything, you know, one and one doesn't equal two in it. It's not so straight up. It's a very subjective, fluid. And it's certainly with brain cancer, the placement, where it's at, what treatment works. For myself, just for anybody going through that, I think it was that I was one of the few people to do the protocol of Avastin and CPT-11. I was relatively young, healthy, in comparison to the other people that I saw taking it with me. And I think, as I heard, all of them got taken off it. I was the only person to get through it because they were taking people off because they get sick, like they throw up and stuff, and because it's very nauseous. And I just started hiding it because I was really concerned that if I didn't stay on that protocol, that I was going to die. And so I put all my intentions and being lying to my doctor about it, and hiding like a waste paper basket underneath my. I mean, I was really very conniving about the whole situation. I felt just absolutely sick as a dog. I mean, just bad sick. It was very unpleasant. Um, but hey, and then now my Reiki always reminds me to be grateful of my chemo that I take now. My chemo that I take now is an oral. It's a temozolomide, and I took it way back when as well with the GBM. So this isn't called what I have now, GBM. So I should maybe change the header on the show. But anyway, it's supposed to be from my GBM. I don't know. They don't even really know 100% it's cancer. It could be dead tissue that's formed over my right. And dead tissue and cancer looks the same on MRI. I know there was one of these stories that I missed, but I think pretty soon I am gonna gotta go jam on some Monkey Mind, my song, pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, for anybody that's concerned with the coronavirus, I really think I think masks are only really an issue if you. And again, I'm not a medical thing, so I'm saying wrong stuff. I think this is what I heard. Basically, you wear a mask if you got it because it's easier to contain it. Like you don't spray, cough, etc. Cough into your arm, like your other side of your elbow. Uh, Wash your hands a lot. Avoid lots of crowds, and touching a lot of stuff, and touching your face and stuff like that, which is hard. I am somebody that kind of likes to touch my face a lot. And yeah, to stay positive, stay in your moment, and be loving to yourself. And it's like too, it's like with the whole cancer thing, what I practice on, it's like, we're all gonna die. It's really, I think, about making peace with now. And that's the groove that I'm pitching to myself. Well, that's what especially when I pitch when I'm going through it, or I think I'm facing my mortality. I'm very big on that pitch. God, I just realized that our song stopped. My background music. Okay, this is. All right, y'all. This is Monkey Mind. Yeah, I want you to love me. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. Mean and cruel, but you're mine, oh mine, my little monkey. Ow. Big monkey. Little boy had a life-size toy, it was a monkey. When I'd squeeze it, made a cute sound. Hey monkey, I want you to love me. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. You're so mean and cruel, but you're mine, oh mine, my little monkey. Wearing a suit and fedora, sits in a bar. He tells a joke to the bartender. Oh, chimpanzee. The joke? 2 penguins. Hey, monkey, I want you to love me. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. Whoa, right. But you're mine, oh mine, my little monkey. Watch out, those goddamn monkeys bite, I tell you. I want you to bite me, monkey. I don't really care, you're not mine, all mine. You with me all the time. Hey, monkey, I feel you, but we ain't one. Hey, monkey, yeah. Help, I love that monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey mine. I can't help, I love that monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey mine. Monkey. I want you to love me. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. Russ, you're my monkey. Ooh, but you're mine, oh mine, mine, little monkey. The hell of a dance. I want you to bite me, monkey. Don't really care, you're not mine, oh mine. You with me all the time, monkey.
Blue's your favorite color, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we ain't one. Help, I love that monkey, that monkey, that monkey, that monkey mine. Help, I love that monkey. All right, stay out on that. Well, y'all stay tuned because coming up next is a Red Priest and listen to us live. Lots of love, guys. Y'all take care of yourselves.
What was it?
Just flash drive. Flash drive. Here you go, Flash.
Oh, my. Okay. You want to switch that?
Yeah, oh my goodness.
You got another one?
Bat
You want to get you one? You good?
Your bat suit spittle. We heard about the bat suit.
I did like a bozo nose, man, the whole time.
It was cracking us up.
Oh, what?
The bat,
I'm going to go the fuck out
the
of
soup,
time,
the bat poop.
man.
The straight scoop and the bat poop. Take your time, my brother. We got big 5 minutes of all the gagging to do here.